I'm the legend from the Paul Feinbaum Show, and I'm in the starting lineup.
I'm Terry Quillian, and I'll be in the starting lineup every Saturday morning.
I'm Case Kiefer, and I'm part of the starting lineup.
The starting lineup, 10:30 to 11 on ABC 3340 every Saturday morning. Hey, welcome to another starting lineup. This has been unlike any show we've ever done. Before we actually get the show started, I see a candle here. I see a little cupcake here. We've had some technical issues. Of course, no one in TV land knows about that because we're all good here. 10:30 to 11 o'clock on ABC 3340. I am Tony Curry, along with the legend. Kip Keeper is off today. Paul Feinbaum was supposed to join the show this morning. He will join us in a week or two. Like I said, we had some technical issues, but we'll get back to him. But how are you, sir? You doing good?
Well, I'll tell you what, Tony, I am doing great. And before we go any further,
Yes.
I need to recognize one of the greatest days in sports history, ladies and gentlemen. One of the great days. Bigger than when Carlton Fisk hit the home run. Bigger than when Burt Jones hit Roger Carr for the touchdown in Memorial Stadium. It is Tony Curry's birthday, ladies and gentlemen. Give it up in the studio.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
In the studio.
Yes. Celebrating, of course, I want to also thank my lovely daughter, Lila, who's here today, and of course Kai Gregory from Southern Precision Staffing, one of our great sponsors, the great picker, 13-3 in his 2 weeks he was on the show this past college football season. We're going to be talking some hoops coming up here in just a few minutes right here on the starting lineup again. Kip Keefer is going to be out today, but we'll also have Terry Quillian in there, and we'll do a little Tide forecast in here. I did want to ask you though, it was only a matter of time before Nick Saban started talking, which is a good thing. And I don't think I would be out of the realm of possibilities to say I was a little surprised, a lot of Bama fans surprised by certainly the timing of his retirement. We're now finding out that he said at least 70 to 80% of his players would ask two questions now every time they came into the locker room or came into his office. Number one, can you guarantee I'm going to play next year? And number two, how much am I going to make? And he's like, you know what? I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's wrong. He said it's just not the way that I've dealt with college kids all my entire life. And it sounds like, to me, maybe I'm wrong. Like really? College football kind of chased Nick Saban off the game. It don't sound like he's ready to retire to me. It does not, based on that interview, it does not sound like he was ready to go. Am I wrong?
Well, Tony, if you came in here today and I was up here saying, Tony, I'm not going on today unless you give me about $800 more. You say, legend, hit the road.
Yeah.
Go on, hit the road. I can get any legend. Well, you can't, but I better say, you can get anybody to sit up here with you. And that's what Nick Saban was dealing with, Tony. He was dealing with a bunch of just money-hungry individuals. That's what this NIL and New Age has turned this team into, and the nation of players who. It's all about the Benjamins, ladies and gentlemen. That's what college football is now.
No, it's unfortunate because I really felt like by listening and not only hearing him and seeing him and reading him, that it appeared that this was not sour grapes. When all of us retire, whenever you retire, you've given your life to something. It's obviously you're kind of bummed out for a few weeks. It takes some time to acclimate yourself. Maybe your alarm clock goes off and you don't wake up anymore, and you got a wife there in the morning. For some reason, it felt like to me he really feels like he misses that part of the game, the process already. And obviously, he's only been out for about a month and a half. And for him to sit there and say, listen, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but this is the way college sports are going. Then in the midst of all this stuff, we've got kids now who have unions. We have Dartmouth, the basketball program, in unions. I did want to get your thoughts on what you think about unions. I was talking to Mark Ingram, of course, the athletic director for the UAB Blazers. I do a show on TKR called the UAB Director's Chair, and I said, what is this? What does this mean for college sports? What do you think it means, the fact that we now have unions in college hoops?
Well, what it means, Tony, is eventually it'll spread all over the nation. The SEC players will be in a union. The SEC football players will be in a union. And you know what a union eventually does, Tony? It strikes. Mm-hmm. Right before the playoffs, they're going to strike, and we're not going to have any playoff till they get paid, they get what they want. That's what unions will do to college football and sports in general.
You know, it's a situation, too, where a lot of these college kids, I don't think they're thinking all the way through. I would like to know where the fathers and the mothers are of these kids. We got 18, 19, 20, I guess, 21, 22-year-olds who are making these decisions. And, of course, they voted 13-2. The Dartmouth basketball team voted to go unionized. And I'm thinking to myself, do we realize that, first of all, you have to pay taxes on this money you're going to be making? You're going to have to pay taxes on that scholarship money that's coming in, all the stipend money. You're going to have to pay taxes on all those things. That 50 grand off the top, you're going to have to write a big fat check for that. I don't think a lot of these kids realize when you talk about union dues. I just think it's going to be interesting because, obviously, if you're working for a union or you're working for a business with a union and you're not part of that union, you're treated differently. What about these two cats that didn't vote to be unionized for Dartmouth? And what happens for the kids that are in college who like college the way it is? I'm 18 years old. I'm chasing a girl eating pizza pie on Friday night. I'm having a good time down the strip. I'm getting my 17 and 10 every single night, but I don't want to be part of a union. I'm not ready to start making big bucks, and I don't want to pay taxes on that. I'm enjoying the college experience because I know it only lasts 4 years, and chances are less than 1% of us are going to make it at the next level. What about that cat? What's going to happen to him?
College football and college sports has changed so much. It's no longer taking a kid as a freshman and watching him develop for 4 years. College sports now is next year a different team, the year after that a different team, the year after that a different team. And, it's took the old school feel away from sports. And all this money, all this greed, all leads to a union, all leads to a division, all leads to a point where college football needs to take a good look at itself before it gets completely out of hand and the fan gets turned off.
Depending on who you talk to, depending again to who you talk to, 6 D1 schools in all of college football last year made money. We're in the black. 6. That doesn't mean there's all this money lying around. Of course, it's budgeted money. Just because I have money over here doesn't mean I can use it over here. And all of a sudden, everyone thinks that all this television money is going to be coming in here. Well, the SEC's writing checks for $35, $40 million. Well, where do you think this money's coming from? I'll tell you something else that's going to start affecting college football. And right now, it's a shame because right now the numbers are better than ever been. There is some fan fatigue, my friend.
Yes.
It's called donor fatigue. You're going to hear those two words, donor fatigue, a lot over the next couple of months because these donors who have been giving their money for their PSLs, who have gotten season tickets to Penn State football for the last 45 years, have been spending $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 on that parking spot right there by Denny Chimes every single Saturday. Now all of a sudden you're saying, I need you to pony up some money for my collectives or else we can't field a good football team this upcoming season. That fatigue is a real deal, and I'm telling you, it's not going to be too long before we have games that ain't sold out anymore. It's going to happen.
Yeah, the fan is being fleeced.
Well,
That's
big
what's
time.
happening.
The
The
fleecing of
fan is
America.
being fleeced. That's what's happening, Tony.
He's the legend. We're going to do a legend forecast coming up here in just a few minutes. Terry Quillian, of course, our rant of the week. We're going to have her on air, and a very good friend of mine, of course, one of our great sponsors, Southern Precision Staffing, 205-682-2828, where your word and your handshake still mean something. Kai Gregory is here. It is not too soon to talk about March Madness. We're in March, brother, and it is hoops time. Kai's going to join us next right here on the starting lineup.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino turns dreams into reality. Like Roger M., who just won over $51,000. And Rebecca, celebrating a life-changing jackpot of $160,000. You could be the next to dance the Icky Shuffle with a big win.
Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! And you can be a winner too!
Don't miss your chance to be our next big winner at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Welcome back to the starting lineup. He is not Kip Keefer. He is the legend, and he has been gracious tonight to sit on the couch here this Saturday morning here. Kip is off this week here in the starting lineup. I'm Tony Curry, the legend, of course, with the Legend Forecast. We're going to be talking some hoops with Kai Gregory in just a second here from Kai Gregory, of course, Southern Precision Staffing, SPS. Do want to mention Tony Curry Radio. It is just a wonderful app. Of course, it is available 24 hours a day. Great classic rock and roll, classic rock to the bone. We have 15 now shows. We're working on 3 more shows for the spring, including something with Trent Dilfer and Andy Kennedy. So some great stuff through Learfield. Just check us out. You're going to love it. Get the TKR app. Listen to great classic rock and roll to the bone around the clock, plus 14, 15 different shows, including a little show called Live Wire Wednesday, where we had the most listening people of all time this last Wednesday night. We had like 50,000 plus in Sydney, Australia. A lot of that has to do with the fact that there's a 50th anniversary going on with AC/DC and, of course, their big worldwide tour. It starts a little bit later on in Germany in May, and then it ends up, we're in Brussels or something, somewhere in August. And a man who loves AC/DC as much as I do, you'll remember him, of course. He was on this show a couple times during the football season. 9-0 1 week, 4-3 the next, 13-3. He is Kai Gregory, Southern Precision Staffing. You like him, you love him, you can't live without him. He is the man. And we're going to talk about some hoops, baby. College football season, fantastic season you had, but I love me some college hoops, man. I mean, I absolutely love this time of the season. This is where we can set our sights, now the NFL's over, fully on what college hoops has to offer. And it ain't so nice. It's so nice to actually have a conference that gives a damn about its college hoops and actually has some teams. We may actually get 1 seed. It's a possibility, right?
It's a possibility. And, the possibility of the 1 seed is my favorite team. And, we could get rid of this basketball legend since, my team got rid of your chances. And we can kind of go from there.
Ouch.
Don't make me go to the hoop on you, dude.
I'll just do like Tennessee and block it.
I still got that George Gervin finger roll.
No, I can't remember now 10, 15 years ago when the SEC was good for 2 or 3 bids. Now, of course, we're looking at 8, 9, 10 bids and maybe that
Awesome.
1 seed Tennessee getting in. I mean, it's just amazing because the SEC was never looked upon as a basketball school. We know that's possible. We've seen Ohio State did it. We saw Florida win a college championship in both basketball and football in back-to-back seasons. So we know it's a talk about, though, how great it is as an Alabama fan, as a Tennessee fan, as an Auburn fan, to get through a football season and actually have something to look forward to. I mean, it's great.
Well, you're going into today with 4 teams trying for the 2, 3, and 4 seeds. So you got 4 teams: South Carolina, Auburn, Kentucky, and Alabama, all trying to get that double bye in the SEC tournament. So what an incredible day it's going to be seeing those teams go at it today to try to get the double bye.
It's amazing, too, because, we've had the Gonzagas and we had the FAUs from last year, and, of course, the Cinderellas will always live in March Madness. But it is really amazing just how wide open it is from year to year. You got the Blue Bloods, the Dukes, the North Carolinas. You've got these great basketball teams, and even the Zags are a little off this year, not playing particularly well. But what are some of the basketball teams that you're watching right now? Because I know you do a lot of handicapping. What are some of the basketball teams you're watching out there that you're going, wow, these teams are going to be really good for the next few years?
I think, my team, this is kind of their shot.
Yeah.
They got some good recruits coming in. I do think Alabama is going to be very good next year. I think Auburn is going to be very good next year, just as far as teams.
Say that again. I didn't hear that in my earplug there, brother. Can you say that again?
Alabama is one of the most dangerous teams out there, and if they're hitting and when they actually take the ball to the basket and kick it out instead of just shooting 45 threes a game, they're a very good team when they play defense.
Well,
period.
The problem with Alabama is they play NBA All-Star game defense,
Yeah.
That is very true.
and that don't get you anywhere in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and it's just like this weekend. I think the Tennessee-Kentucky game today is going to be very interesting. I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. I like the over in that game. I'm not sure what Tennessee team is going to show up because they've already won the championship. They don't have a lot to play for. He has the tiebreakers with the other 3 teams, so if they win that game, they're the 2 seed, you get the double bye, and they don't have to play Tennessee again until the finals.
It's just amazing. And, of course, my Xavier Musketeers didn't even have a football team when I went to Xavier University. They had their football program in the 70s, probably for a good reason. But even when Muskies aren't playing particularly well this year, I just think it's super cool. And I know that we've talked about this, and I mentioned Mark Ingram a lot because he's an athletic director, and he's right there on the cusp of it. But he firmly believes within the next 2 or 3 years, we're going to double the field for March Madness, which –
That's insane.
it is insane,
Can't
but
stand
it's
the idea.
smart. When you look at every other sport out there, basically a third of the league is getting in. You're talking about 68 teams out of 350 right now getting into hoops. There are so many other teams that could play, and if you're talking about adding just one more game and one more round, could the madness get better?
I'm with you. I'm with all the madness we can get. I'm with you there. But that's a lot of teams. You're gonna have to win 7 or 8 games.
You're going to fill a bracket up in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, I don't like it at all. I'm more of a sports purist, I guess. I mean, I really don't like the playoffs. I mean, I understand when we have to go to the playoffs in football. I liked the 64 teams. Now we've got the added game, but you also got the NIT and the CBA and the XYZ and the DRK and all these other tournaments that people can go play in. So literally, you can stink all year, and it's great when you come in and you're a 13-17 team and you go 4 in a row and you get your conference championship and you go to the NCAA tournament. Mm-hmm. But why is a 14-17 team going and playing in the CBI or the NIT or any of those? I mean, who actually even goes to those games?
When it comes to your staffing needs, construction, IT, you name it, Southern Precision Staffing is the way to go. They're right here in Hoover, Alabama, serving the United States of America. 205-682-2828, 205-682-2828. Where your word and your handshake still means something. I'd be remiss not to mention the fact that we haven't even started our 12-team playoff, and now they're talking about going to 14.
When is enough enough?
It took us all that time, and they're like, in 2026 we could go to 14. I'm like, well, why the hell are we going with 12? Any thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, why 14? Don't 16 make more sense? Everybody would have an opponent in the first round if it's 16.
Yeah,
But
what?
how do you even break down a 14
If
team?
they go to
bracket?
14, they give the SEC and the Big Ten automatic bye.
2 buys each?
Yeah. Well, I'm an SEC fan.
okay,
We're
I
in
got
SEC
you.
country. I get
It'd
it.
be
I don't
4
like it.
buys and they'd be 4 games, and the 4 games would play the 4 buys, I guess. I don't know. I'm confused.
I don't know.
I failed math class, ladies and
The
gentlemen.
more the merrier. Speaking of college hoops, Case Kiefer, he's the man in the desert. He has been on fire, and he loves to handicap, of course, not only college hoops, but NBA action as well. We're getting ready for March Madness. He's going to join us in the show here in the starting lineup in just a few minutes right here, along with, of course, the man right here, 13-3. You're going to come back with some basketball picks this year?
Sure.
All right. We're going to be looking for your bracket, man. I want to see what that bracket looks like.
Yeah, this
Kai
feels
Gregory,
on
Southern
fire.
Precision Staffing. Give me a call, 205-682-2828. Back at you in 2.
Hey, it's Case Kiefer coming to you from Las Vegas for my weekly Best Bet segment as part of the starting lineup. Going through a little bit of a rough patch here on the show, at least. I think we've mainly focused on NASCAR the last couple weeks and lost both bets, but that's okay. I still feel pretty good about where I am. I hope you're following all my stuff at LasVegasSun.com, where I cover a lot more sports and having a lot more success there, but I am really excited about today's segment because, as I probably said one of these last 2 or 3 weeks, everyone always asks me what I'm betting this time of year once football's over, and the truth is I'm betting everything. I know some people say don't do that, but that's what I like doing, and I think it helps me keep up with everything. I think betting early, I found an edge in a lot of these areas, but by far the 2 things I'm taking most seriously right now that I've found the most success in, that I'm betting the most money-wise, are golf and college basketball. Now, I'm sure you're wondering, well, why haven't you covered more of that on the show? And it's just because the production schedule of when we do it doesn't usually work out that I can give many plays with that. But good news this week, it sets up perfectly. We can talk about both. Of course, we have officially started March Madness with a bunch of small conference tournaments, and one of them I am going to break down today. And then golf. This might be the biggest golf week of the year. For me, at least, if you're betting all the tournaments, 4 major tournaments across the world, Hong Kong for Live, Puerto Rico, and the Arnold Palmer in the PGA Tour, and a big DP World Tour in South Africa. But then what looms even larger next week, the Players' Championship, which I was so delighted to see a bunch of sportsbooks already have lines up on the 5th major. So I spent a lot of time this week actually working ahead on the Players' Championship, so I can kind of break that down today too, give you some plays for that. But let's get started in college basketball. We're going to go to Washington, D.C., where I have a play in the Colonial Athletic Association conference tournament. Why am I picking this tournament? Well, to be honest, because I know this price is still going to be available Saturday. There's only the play-in games Friday night, so I know this tournament won't be getting underway yet, but also I think it's an interesting one to talk about because of all the conference tournaments that have started so far. This is the tightest one from the odds perspective. There are 4 really good teams this year: Charleston, Hofstra, Drexel, and UNC Wilmington. They all beat up on each other. And then the middle range has some tough teams too. Towson, really good defensively. Stony Brook and Monmouth have some big-time scorers. So it's a fun one to talk about. The odds are really bunched, and I am going to actually land on the 3-seed Hofstra. I played Hofstra plus 375 to win the Colonial Athletic Association tournament. Like I said, they're the 3-seed, but if you look at the advanced analytics, really dive into the numbers, the shots they're taking, the margin of victory stuff, I think they've been the best team in the league this year, just slightly. I really like their draw. You look at who they're playing, the play-in winner, they're probably going to play the winner of Delaware and Northeastern, certainly who they're going to play. I think that's a lot better than having to play a Towson or a Monmouth. They avoid both Charleston and UNC Wilmington on the other side. They will have to play Drexel if the seeds hold in the semifinals, but I like Hofstra against Drexel. I think they will be a favorite in that game. So, this was really just a stars align moment for me. This is the team I'm the highest on the league, and I think they got the best draw. So Hofstra plus 375, probably fine to play, at least down to plus 350. I've really dove into these conference tournaments more than ever before this year. I usually focus just on the bigger ones, but I love betting tournament basketball so much that I have spent just countless hours this week putting numbers together for basically every tournament. I think this is the best one that's set up to share on the show, but follow my stuff at LasVegasSun.com. Hopefully I can write about some more, but Hofstra plus 375 for the show. Let's go to the golf world where, we're 2 rounds into the Arnold Palmer Invitational now, the biggest tournament this week. I can't really talk about what's going on this week. Hopefully, it's going well for me. I know I'm heavy on one of the favorites, Rory McIlroy, this week, but I'll tell you where I will not be on many favorites is next week in the Players' Championship. Year after year, this is kind of a crazy event. There's a lot of variance in this event. It's not really worth paying the absolute top prices. Now, I know that's kind of been obscured last year by Scotty Scheffler running away with it, but even Scheffler last year, I think I had him at 12-1. I did cash on that. He was not the outright favorite, but I mean, this is a tournament where Siwoo Kim once infamously burst onto the scene and won as a 300-1 shot. Just with the water, with the tough conditions, there's a lot of different people that can win this. So I really tried to hone in on some longer prices this week to start building my portfolio. And the 2 lowest, I'm starting with Matthew Fitzpatrick and Tommy Fleetwood at 33-1 and 40-1 respectively. 2 Britishmen that I think really set up well for this course. I think their approach game sets up well. Fleetwood is playing extremely well, and I think it's obscured as a lot of it's come in Dubai and overseas. And I also would just encourage you, if you see some 100-1 plus shots to take in the Players' Championship, it might be worth it for me. I landed on JT Poston, Keith Mitchell, and Denny McCarthy all at 100 and 100 to 125-1. So Fitzpatrick, Fleetwood, Poston, Mitchell, and McCarthy looking ahead to next week's Players' Championship. Golf, college basketball, it is a great time of the sports betting calendar. Best of luck, and thanks for listening to the starting lineup.
Special thanks, of course, the entire crew here, including Monty Ballard, who got me some great cupcakes there from Edgar's, celebrating my 58th birthday here as we celebrate the big show here on a Saturday morning, 10:30, 11 o'clock on ABC 3340. He is the legend. Kip Keefer will be back next week. Paul Feinbaum, who is supposed to be on our show this morning, will be back in a couple weeks. He's getting ready for the SEC basketball tournament, so he can't make it next week. We got a plethora of fantastic guests coming up right here. You never know who's going to be on the starting lineup. And again, special thanks to Kai Gregory from Southern Precision Staffing, 205-682-2820. Fantastic work from SPS. Greatly appreciate their partnership here with the fantastic show we do every week. This thing with the Paul Feinbaum Radio Network. I could not wait to get Paul on today, and again, we'll have him on in a couple weeks because the tables have turned, my friend. You call Paul's show, and of course he puts you in front of this national audience. We are seen nationally through the internet and certainly here locally on ABC 3340. But for Paul to be stepping into your studio, how would that make you feel to have Paul in your loins, if you will?
Well, it'd be a bucket list item that I get to check off. When I first called Feinbaum, I never imagined that it would lead to sitting next to the great Tony Curry, being on television. It just shows you that God still does miracles. Believe, because the legend believes, and I'm proof, miracles do happen.
What is something about, and I know Paul about as well as anybody does, and I competed against him when he was over at ERC when I was doing classic rock for 19, 20 years. Then, of course, obviously we were working together doing the sports thing on Jocks 94.5. But what would you say is something that you could share, because you know Paul a lot better than a lot of other people, and yes, you do have an inline. When they want to get the legend on the show, they know where to find you. But what would there be something that you could share about Paul? Because he's been not only wonderful with his time, very gracious, but he's just a great journalist, great law. The guy does a lot of things, and he's just been a fantastic attribute to not only sports radio, but to certainly what we do here on this show. But let's talk about something maybe we don't know about Paul.
What you know that the world, a lot of people in the world don't know, and college football knows, that this is one of the nicest individuals that I have ever met. He's someone that takes time with the fans. He took time with the legend. I went to prison. I did nearly 20 years in prison, an ex-convict. And he put his arms around me and said, look, legend, if you want to be a part of radio and television, I'll help you any way I can, legend. That's the kind of individual Paul is. What a lot of people don't know out there that talk down about this man, Florida State fans, all these other conferences. This man's just talking sports. In real life, he is as down to earth, as genuine a person as I have ever met, Tony.
No, he's a fantastic guy, and having worked with him in the same hallways for years and years and years, and obviously when the SEC network came into play with ESPN, we knew that it was going to be bigger and better for him. Birmingham just could not hold him back, and he was going to grow. I just think he's been just such a fantastic ESPN. You can say whatever you want. They know what they're doing. They have the rights and the chutzpah, if you will, to fire 30, 40, 50 people every 3 months, and you think it's going to hurt them, and it doesn't, because you're more famous being on ESPN than ESPN being on you. But Paul Feinbaum is one of those guys where they know that he is college football, period. Not only SEC, but college football, period. And that if he's talking about college football, first and foremost, you're getting it straight from the horse's mouth. He's the man. And his connections are fantastic. I think it's always funny because you could be a guest on Paul's show and he could be slamming you the next day.
Yeah.
But you'll call him back the next day. That's always so good. And finally, and I'll say this, Paul is one of the few guests that still takes phone calls. And people absolutely love that. The takes, and of course you're on almost every single day. The fact that you get to promote our show, I think is fantastic. But he still looks after his listeners. I love that.
Yeah, the one thing about Paul that you really are amazed about is he can love you one day and smack you around the next day and pick you back up and get you a little lower mouth. I mean, he can build you up and he can tear you down. Me and him had a rocky relationship in the first few months I called. I remember I sent him a bird on Twitter one time, But, I mean, he'll go to war with you. But at the end of the day, he loves his callers. He puts his callers ahead of guests and people in the whole nation. He makes the fan feel like we're a part of it. And I love it. Oh, my producer told me not to be yelling. I get talking about Feinbaum. I start yelling, Tony. I don't know what it is. I'm just as cool, but when you mention Feinbaum, that's the effect he has on people, Tony. That's the Feinbaumism right there.
He will join us on the show here in a couple of weeks. We'll look forward to having Paul Feinbaum, the Paul Feinbaum Radio Network, and not to mention, of course, ESPN right here. What a fantastic time of the year with March Madness here. Of course,
Yes.
Major League Baseball. I know you're a big Baltimore Orioles fan.
Wouldn't a Reds Orioles World Series be awesome?
Yeah.
Unless it was like 1970.
When 1970, yeah, when it freezes over. My Reds actually played pretty well last year.
Yeah.
Over-under was 64.5
Cruz.
on their over-under. Yeah, Dela Cruz will be back until, of course, he obviously demands a little more money, and then Cincinnati will get out, and they'll play that middle line there where they just they win their 60, 70 ball games. But Baltimore, another one of those teams here that a lot of people from a mid-major team or from a team from that mid-major feeling, a small, they can get after it, man. They can pack their bus. And the thing about that is, how old is Camden Yards?
About 30 years.
Isn't that hard to believe?
It is hard to believe.
That was after the cookie cutter years of the 70s when you had Three Rivers and you had Riverfront, you had all those cookie cutter. And Camden was the beginning of these new stadiums now that we have where it didn't need to be 70, 80,000, 35, 40,000 is fine, thank you very much. We'll fill the seats. And Camden Yards still standing, and I'm so happy it still is. I have not made it up there, but
beautiful.
Legend needs to take the bone up there.
We'll do it.
And I'd love to go to Camden Yards. I'd love to see it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. And Gunnar Henderson, Jackson Holiday, Adley Rushman, Corbin Burns. Whoo, I'm feeling my birds about to fly.
It's going to be good. It's also going to be good, the starting lineup every single week. Case Keeper joins the show, Terry Quillian, the legend. And for Kip Keeper, I'm Tony Curry. This is the starting lineup.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino turns dreams into reality. Like Roger M., who just won over $51,000. And Rebecca, celebrating a life-changing jackpot of $160,000. You could be the next to dance the Icky Shuffle with a big win.
Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! And you can be a winner too!
Don't miss your chance to be our next big winner at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.